Do you ever feel overwhelmed and isolated, wondering how to build a support system that truly lifts you up? What if I told you there are simple steps that you can take today to surround yourself with the right people who will inspire and motivate you? Interested? I am. Let's go ahead and dive into how to cultivate your ideal support network. I'll see you on the other side. Supportive relationships can transform your reality, whether it's family, friends, or mentors. These connections are essential for our growth and our happiness. My name is Dr. Ember, and I'm your host here today for tips for a magical life. And if you're ready to unlock the power of your support system and discover how it can lead you to a more magical life, you're in the right place. And don't forget, if you do find value in today's episode, please hit that button and subscribe for more insights. Make sure you ring the bell too. You don't want to miss a single episode for having a magical life. So let's get started. Having relationships and making friends is part of life. Everyone does it. Having said that, some of us are better at doing it than others. If you found yourself having a hard time making supportive friends, then it's time to take a deep look into yourself and figure out why. After all, the biggest part of our lives is spent with our friends and family, and these relationships, they're what make us who we are, truthfully. So the first tip I'm going to give you here today is be a friend to have a friend. Building supportive relationships takes a lot of time and effort, honestly. If you expect people to be supportive of you when you need it, then it's very important for you to do the same thing for them. The golden rule is a very good rule to follow when it comes to friendships and supportive relationships. And the golden rule is simply treat others how you wish to be treated. So, if you want to be a friend, or be a good friend. That way you can have a good friend. Also remember that like attracts like. And what you put out there, the universe will give back to you. Now, another thing you need to remember is be who you are from day one. Be your authentic self. You see, differences are the spice of life. So never try to be someone you're not, just to have certain friends or to attract a certain person into your life. It's not worth it. You have to live a lie. And it doesn't make you happy when you do that. The fact is, people rarely change, and you honestly can't keep it up forever. The more you trust others to be themselves, the more they'll trust you to do the same. And after all, if you're building an authentic relationship, you don't want to start it off on lies. You're going to want to respect others for who they are also, okay? They're being their authentic self. You're being your authentic self. Sometimes those authentic selves clash, and that's okay. Remember, it's the spice of life. You see, by contrast, it's imperative to keep accepting of other people's differences, because it doesn't mean that you have to accept their erroneous behavior or their illegal behavior or behavior that hurts you or another person. Quite the opposite, actually. These are things that you should be able to accept. They're superficial differences, like skin color or whether or not they choose to get a tattoo. Political differences would be respecting others for who they are also, as well as religious differences, sexual orientation, how they identify, because they are being their authentic self. Who are you to say that is not them, that is not acceptable, and that is wrong? Would you like someone to do that to you? No. So we need to try and keep this in mind, that we are who we are. And we need to be very accepting of other people's differences also. Now, you're going to want to also avoid taking responsibility for others. You see, there's a fine line between support and enabling behavior. When a friend has to suffer the consequences of their erroneous actions, you do not have to take any type of responsibility for your actions to be supportive. You can be supportive even when you're visiting someone in jail. They did the issue. They had the issue, right? But you can still go and be supportive for them. A friendly face, a kind word. But it doesn't mean you have to take responsibility for what they have done. You only take responsibility for what you have done. If you are a parent of a child, that is a different story, because at that point you also need to take responsibility for what your child has done, because you are supposed to be setting the example and teaching them right from wrong. Another tip for you here today is believe in your friends to be better. Believe in your family to be better. Guys, this is really, really hard sometimes. Because if they're not in your corner, you're going to know it really quickly. But it doesn't mean that you can't believe that they are. Okay? You can play pretend. That's all I'm asking you to do right now. Play pretend that your friends and family are able to be better. Because sometimes being part of a supportive section is being a good friend to someone who's not really a good friend. Okay? You want to be supportive for them more than they're supportive for you. For example, if one of your friends is in an abusive relationship, you don't stand by and support that idea. Okay? You talk to them about what's going on. You help them get help and get out of that situation. You believe that your friends can be in a better situation. Okay? If your friend is depressed, talking to them, being there for them, being supportive for them, asking them to get help and get out of that depression is being supportive. One of the things that you need to cultivate more when you're working on your support system is learning how to listen effectively. You see, everyone was given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should all seek to listen twice as much as we should talk. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. But there's a difference between just sitting there silently as opposed to truly listening. Try repeating back to people what you think they said in your own words until you get it right. You'll be surprised at how effective this is and how well it helps you cultivate your support system. You must understand that true friendships are 100%, okay? It's a win-win. No one is keeping score, though, in a real friendship that offers support. You're there for them, and they're there for you whenever you guys need it. So that's why they're 100% instead of 50-50, okay? If you're focused on providing 100% of yourself in that friendship, you will not be focused on resentments and misunderstandings. If you are there as your authentic self, you know that they accept your authentic self, and you're allowed to be yourself. They're listening to you. You're listening to them. You're okay. That's what I'm talking about here, guys, because let everyone be themselves. And when you realize that in a supportive relationship, you're there for that other person no matter what happens, just like they're there for you no matter what happens. You want to spend real time with your friends where you can foster a friendship and a real relationship with someone, okay? Spending real time with them, actually doing things that make memories count. Most people don't need much time. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes on the phone. Other times, hey, let's just meet for a coffee. Sometimes it might be bringing the double chocolate chip ice cream in the movie because, you know, things have gone wrong and we need to just chill for a bit. Whatever it is, when you are there really authentically for your friends and you are actively engaged in listening to them and you are supportive of them, however that is, that's what really counts. And it could be with your friends, your family, or your mentors, once again. You also need to learn to accept criticism and give it. This is hard for us as humans. We don't like hearing negative things about ourselves or how we do things. But here's the thing, true supportive relationships aren't always completely positive. They're going to be real with you. They're going to tell you your butt looks big in those jeans, okay? Plain and simple. And you're going to turn right around and tell them, yes, I know, doesn't it look fabulous? And you're both going to laugh. However, negative criticism does happen. And your friends know you better than you know yourself. If they're telling you something that you need to work on, listen. Okay, put yourself in their shoes and look at you through their eyes. It's truly enlightening. Sometimes friends need someone to be willing to call them on their BS. Truly supportive people can do that for each other and allow it to be done for them without damaging the relationship. You also need to ask for what you need. You see, some relationships can seem very one-sided at times, which is why it's important to learn how to draw boundaries, to be able to say no, to enforce your ethics, and to ask for what you need. If you ask people for what you need and they don't, can't, or won't provide it, fine. A single instance? Fine. If this happens repeatedly, then it is time to move on. By developing real support systems, you actually are happier. You're less stressed, and you're more focused. But it requires a lot of work. It will pay off when you truly need the support, however. By setting the standard of what you expect in a relationship, you will be a good example to your friends and family of what type of support network that you need. And after all, that's what all this is about, is having that supportive network for both of you. Love and light, peace and progress. Until next time.